What up, DBI? It is your retired admin, Riz here, and this is actually not a roleplay review. This video is all about bios, not the race. I'm talking about your actual biography. So in this video, I want to cover some things to just kind of help new role players understand what the things that we're looking for in a bio. And for anybody who's wondered, like, man, why was my bio denied? And the the reasoning behind it doesn't make sense, just to kind of hopefully make some sense out of it. I'm gonna try to keep this video under 10 minutes, and I'm probably not going to be able to accomplish that, but here we go. So, a bio, what should they be? A bio is actually very simple, and it's also very complex at the same time, because it should tell you the who, the what, and the why about your character, and they should do it in a very simple storytelling type of way. So I'll tell you first, you should not be going into a bio and you should not be looking at it as, I'm going to write this as it's an actual RP. It's not going to be an actual role play. You don't need to have actions like, I went to the door and opened it and then I saw the man. No, you can just say, like, there was a man, right? You don't have to go into detail about the actions that are taking place, because it becomes kind of a long read. What we are looking for are three things. Who is this character? What are they kind of about? And why have they been thrust into the RP world? And I think the very best way to think of a new character in RP is either a brand new character being introduced into an anime or a manga, or a brand new character being introduced in an MMO. If you have those two things in mind, it should make the rest of what I'm going to say a little bit later easier to comprehend. So we want to know who you are. Like, you kind of have to tell us. If your bio is about your character named Riz, and in the bio it has absolutely nothing to do with Riz at all, they aren't even a mention at the end, then you're really not writing a biography on this person, right? So you got to include yourself or this character in some way. And what are they about? Give us just a hint. It doesn't have to be the whole story. It doesn't have to be, the whole telling of your character, but give us something, right? Give us something to go on. And the why. Why is your character doing the things that they're going to be doing in their first role play? And the why is not so much the biggest thing, because you can write your character in a way in their bio that says, like, they're after one thing, and then in your very first role play it can be completely different. And that's actually pretty fine, because nobody has really brought a character to life on page yet. This is just something to kind of get you started. When you have those three things kind of down, then it really helps to get the story moving along. And out of the simple things, you want to make sure that there's really no spelling errors. So just throw it into Word documents or Google Docs, run a spell check on it. No big grammatical errors. I'm not the greatest person at grammar, but I try to be as best I can. And, just the formatting and the coloring and everything like that, make it kind of easy to read. Those are the simple things. And I know what a lot of people are really waiting for is for me to get into the nitty gritty, which I guess we can jump into right now. The best way for me to describe why myself and Luke are very particular about the types of bios that we off, it's because we have on chat a very deep and rich history. Now, I know it was a lot easier to comprehend when we had the wiki, but wiki spaces went down, and the next thing we had was Anvil. And I am going to link the Anvil to this video, so if you're ever worried about, what the hell are we talking about, you can just type wiki in the mud. It's an email it'll give you there, and then that link will be here. But we look for people who have at least read up on Anvil or know about the current DBI roleplay verse and interject their character into that. It is so hard. It's so hard to tell somebody who's wanting to role play on a Dragon Ball based MUD, you have no affiliation to the people who are on my t-shirt, right? You don't know who these people are because they don't exist. In a little inside baseball, when Super came out and said that there are 12 universes, it really gave us the opportunity to play with the multiverse and say, okay, DBI is this unknown, unspoken of 13th universe where it has Saiyans and Icers and Changelings and Hydians and everything that is included in Super, just our version of it. And I think that is the best way to describe it. So, no, I'm sorry, your character doesn't know who Goku is. Your character doesn't know who Piccolo and Vegeta, and you were not there at the Battle of Namek, right? Like, if you're a Namekian, you were not slaughtered by Frieza and his men, because in our universe, they just do not exist. And I know you might be asking yourself, like, why are you pretentious assholes taking this from us? And we're not taking it from you. Hear me out. Over the course of probably going on 10 plus years now, we've had role players have events and have not like big role play events, but just actual events that have happened on our chat that have pretty much become an actual Dragon Ball Infinity role play universe. Like, these are things that have happened on chat that are remembered and told as stories. One of them being, at one point, one of our players took over Kami's Lookout, became the evil guardian of Earth, and to some people they'll call it Tellar's Tower, and it's no longer Korin's Tower, it's no longer Kami's Lookout, it's Tellar's Tower. And that type of history goes a long way. These are people who role played on chat, they had this event, and that persevered, that lasted all this time, and it gives your role play history. So like right now, we have a really good cast starting to become the new legends and the new historians of a new age. And the fact that we call these different ages should be a highlight to those characters. So your brand new character should be interjected into that history. And that's what makes roleplay so deep and so rich, because it is something that is persevering and something that's lasting. It's something, that's evolving and becoming something of its own. And I feel like that is way cooler than just saying like, oh yeah, I was at this predetermined point in history in Dragon Ball, because everybody can just come out and say that. And I always look for someone who, they say that, I was born on Insignia and they're an android. It's like, okay, this person knows that Insignia is a planet that we have. Or they call it Nig Yellow instead of Isoria. They know that there is no planet Vegeta anymore, right? You can't be a Saiyan born on planet Vegeta in our roleplay verse, because planet Vegeta is a barren, desolate nuclear wasteland, and nobody can survive there. There is no King Vegeta right now. So that just shows me that, yes, you know what our RP verse is about. And not to say that we don't have certain things that does parallel with what actually happens in the show. So we do have a Capsule Corp. It's just not run by Bulma and her dad, right? It's just capsules, right? That's iconic enough that we interjected that in there to give it a real good Dragon Ball feel. But if you say like, I was an employee at Capsule Corp and I knew Bulma Briefs, like, no, you didn't, because she doesn't exist. So those are the kind of things that right away I look for, just to see like, okay, did you tell me who, what, why? Do you know a little bit about the lore? Do you know about the world that you're jumping into? Which kind of takes me on to my next point. What should your character be before coming in to roleplay? Now, this is going to be a disclaimer. This is going to be where everybody groans and gets mad and doesn't want to hear these words, but your character is a level 1 newbie when you write your bio. Now, hopefully, everybody's done being triggered and upset about that, but hear me out. Remember that MMO analogy that I made? So when you sign into a new MMO, unless it's pay to win, which there is no pay to win in DBI, don't ask, we tried. You're going to be level 1 when you start to roleplay, same as any kind of MMO. You may want to go raid with your max level friends, but you got to get through the grind first. Same thing with this. You're going to be level 1. You are not going to be this masterclass swordsman who defeated everybody on their planet that nobody's heard of because you just made it up for convenience. And then, there was this guy who defeated you and now you're out to get them, but you lost all your power. Like that stuff doesn't really fly, because if you were so great before, why do you suck now? And it's just tell us, right? Tell us on chat, tell us on page how cool you are, right? If you really are a masterclass swordsman, cool. Who trained you? Because that person can get beat by any tier 2, right? You're starless, you're 0, and any tier 2 can go beat the person that you're supposed to be 10 times better than. And I know a lot of people say, like, well, it's a story about trying to get your power back and all that. Yes, that's great, but tell us the story before the story, right? So if you are a masterclass swordsman, someone had to train you, right? You had to be a shitty Padawan at some point. Show us that, and then go from there. We don't really authorize these bios that say, like, oh, when an age passed, I was this great person, and now something happened, and I got to get it all back. It's not a compelling story, because you've already had your journey, and now the journey is to get it back. In some cases, it can work out. And I'll give you this example. During my quarantine, I started watching the show called Community, and the main character of Community was this high-profile lawyer. Found out that he faked his degree, and he has to go back to school. And his the whole purpose of this character is to get back to his great life that he had, being rich, being a lawyer, driving a Benz, and all this fancy stuff. But along the way, he completely changes. That's one of the things that I will say, like, okay, that story isn't too bad, but it just doesn't work for us. Unless, and I know that everybody wants to talk about the elephant in the room when it comes to this subject, unless you do something like a super rename, or if there's a P-wipe. Generally with the P-wipe, we say, hey, you can make up a reason to why your character existed past whatever time skip or whatever. That's cool, but your character is level 0. And I'll use this character as a direct, I don't know the word, but comparison. There we go. Cyver. Cyver is a character who in ages past has role played. He has history. If he were to write a bio, his bio would be all the roleplay logs that he had before that showed him going from this kind of okay agent up to what he was. And then we had a P-wipe. He remade Cyver. Now Cyver has all this history. He was a legend. He is kind of still maybe a little OP, but yeah, that's fine. And he's starless again. He's not as effective, and if anybody can read the last log that we did on Talladega 4, you'll see that Cyver was the guy that was kind of getting everything ready, and then he just kind of wasn't really that effective, right? Those kinds of stories that can fit. But if you're brand new to channel, one, nobody knows who you are, so you can't be as famous as you say, right? You really do have to kind of create a brand new planet that nobody's ever heard of, and then you're kind of, this is roleplay, right? This is its bubble. You're over here, and you're not playing with others. You're kind of just saying, like, oh, I was so awesome over here, but now we're here. I'm not as awesome anymore. Just come out and just say, like, hey, I'm a dude, right? I'm on a quest to become the master swordsman, to do all this, to do all that, to stop the big bad. And then along the way, right, if your story unfolds to something different, then it unfolds to something different. But you're not going to be like, I'm the Prince of all Saiyans. I'm super important. No, you're not. Nobody's heard of you. I'm sorry. Saiyans exist. Super Saiyans exist. There are people who are out there who are stronger than you, and nobody's heard of you. So you're really not that great. And that's okay. Everybody should start off that way. Think of yourself when you're starless. You're about the equivalent of an action hero, right? You are Jackie Chan, starring as Jackie Chan, and Jackie Chan gets from point A to point B and kicks a whole bunch of ass on the way. That's cool. You are not Superman Prime's little son, and I'm trying to, get to Superman Prime power level. No. It's just not going to be authorized, right? And it even comes down to things like, well, I'm not that strong, but I've got lots of experience because I'm King Kai. Nope, sorry. Just be a pleb, please, guys, gals, everybody. Just accept it. It's easier just to accept, and I promise you, you will have more fun with your character when you go from something to nothing, or from nothing to something. Sorry, and it has a story behind it. You have all these hours of chat on page, and your character has gone through evolution and struggle and evolution and struggle. I promise you, you will have a much better connection with that character, for one, and two, you'll just have a richer, deeper story. What else should we talk about in the bio? So you shouldn't be that great. You shouldn't kind of like change history to kind of fit your character, and you should fit your character into our universe. Outside of that, just have fun with it, right? I know it seems like I'm shitting on a lot of people. I'm not. I'm just trying to tell everybody exactly what we look for when it comes to authing bios. And I feel like this kind of stuff would help a whole bunch of people out. There is one more thing that I want to talk about, and I know I'm well over my 10-minute mark, but for the niche characters, and for the niche races, should I say, where there's only like one or two of them as like a prototype, you don't have to copy that character to a T. If you want to make a magic demon, you don't have to be any sort of Majin Buu. You don't have to look like Majin Buu. You don't have to be like Buu-like at any. I think the best version of this is that Nigmas had a magic demon which was more like an android, and it was just kind of this amalgamation of stuff held together by magic. I think that's awesome. If you want to be a bio android that looks human, acts human, thinks is human, but has to, eat people like a freaking vampire, that's awesome. If you want to be, there's not too many. I mean, we have enough icers to where, there's Frieza, Frost, King Cold, Cooler. You can see how they kind of are different from one another. But you don't have to be meditating all the time if you want to be a Namekian. You don't have to be Piccolo Light or Nail 2.0. Be your own character. Just make sure it kind of makes sense, right? So just don't copycat something else. Be unique. Be explorative. Just don't be overpowered, right? Be a shitty level 1, and then get up to the starless or the 7-star power level, which nobody's gonna hit. Nobody's gonna hit it. Not even Lai. Well, if Lai doesn't bot, then maybe he can be it. But anyway, we're at 18 minutes now. I'm gonna wrap this video up. If you guys like these videos, let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the mud. And if you want something else, I'm more than willing to shoot these and to talk about roleplay ad nauseum. If you guys want tips on how to, log in color, it's out there. But if you just want us to show you, you can do that. Just anything. So I guess I will stop talking, wrap this video up, and see you guys on chat. Take care.